Welcome back to another Aftermatch video. You just seen a match between the new Luard and the old Vanquisher. It's been some time since the last support.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm accompanied with Chris. He's been the one that piloting the new Luard deck, and yeah, it was an interesting matchup from the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Oh, when I didn't guard, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just afraid of early binding from your side, so I thought it's better just to take early game and start guarding later, so I can build up my hand and try new things. So that was the reason why I didn't guard early game. Yeah.
My suspicions were that your hand was cluttered with all grade 3 Luards. I've seen that you keep discarding all the Luards from your hand. I'm like,
that was
maybe
also
he
part
was sitting
of the
with
reason.
3 or 4 Luards in his opening hand.
I mean, I binded 4 of them. Well, yeah, here's
another one. I believe you have another one in your drop zone, if not.
I play 7 grade 3, so that's, yeah. It was strange to see them all, and having very little rear guards to use, actually, so. But thankfully, Luard itself, yeah, solves that problem.
The matchup is pretty hard on the Narukami player, and that's odd to say, because of course you need your ritual, and I can disrupt that. But the big difference between the two clans nowadays is that Luard can draw insanely good, and they keep refilling their hand with no problem. And every time when I'm committing resources, I'm depleting my own hand. And as seen in the video, I was usually sitting at a hand count of 3, 4, and after my draft checks, then I went up to 7, 8. But then I need to discard it again for guarding, or and my field sense, so I need to dump it again on the field. And for Luard is superior call grade 1s, do some shenanigans, and I have a hand of 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. Well, I was also lucky with my hand. I mean, I still had 2 heals in my hand, so that was the reason I discarded 2 PGs. Because I felt like G-guards are, in this case, a little bit better to have. Because you have to discard only 1, and by discarding them, I could bind them to countercharge or full charge if needed. I also think that the reason why Luard is a little bit better nowadays against Narukami is because you can retire stuff.
You can now disrupt my field. And usually you don't do that. My field stays on the field unless you do doomed, but that's your only option.
Exactly. That is purely luck based, and I had the luck that I hit 2 grade 0s, so that I retired both your units, but normally it's hopefully 1, most of the time 0, so that was pure luck. And I think that's because you can retire now stuff. Yeah, that makes it
that's a little push on the edge for bye your Narukami.
Exactly, it's not ritual related, the retire. Only that you have to call a ritual unit. That makes it so much better. Because
didn't you call the ritual unit in your last turn? Because you didn't retire one of my 2 units. I didn't know.
No, this one is not ritual. It has to be in the same column. So I either had to play it here or here.
Yes.
And yeah,
it hasn't ritual, and it doesn't, and there's nothing in the same column.
Exactly.
That explained why you didn't retire anything. I was thinking, is he forgetting something?
No, it was this time I didn't forget it. Luckily. This time I thought that this was the best play. I could have done it, but I thought it's better to try and let you make a hard decision. And that's why I didn't attack with this column, because it was 11. I could have hit, but I was afraid that you might have 2 G guards and.
I only had sadly 1 G guard, and that's the one that I just used. And I was hoping that you first attack with this, so I can at least intercept. But the fact that you had 3 rear guards and I had 2 disrupted my whole idea. Because if I didn't have this one and you retired this one, because I think you preferably, if you retired 1 or 2, I think you wanted that one gone.
Yeah.
So I still had to intercept, so I could intercept and then G-guard it with my flip G-guard. And because I don't have any rear guards and you have 3, you retire 1, and then you need to retire another one, and then hold your crit and everything. It's gone.
I was afraid of that.
I had the extra heal on top, so that could help.
Exactly. And I was afraid of that, so that's why I decided not to attack with the rear guards, but instead just attack with the Vanguard, so I can use at least his skill. So yeah, that was the reason why I made the play, and that was also the second
And also, if you didn't have, and I could guard with grade 1s and higher, I had the guard in hand to do something. But sadly, I couldn't dump the other 3 cards on the field.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would never made it a 1 to pass on the Drag Strider. No way. Wasted one just yet. Thunderstrike 3. When you have Thunderstrike 3, he gains another 10k shield, so that makes me 36.
Alright.
Intercept, 41.
Yeah, still hits.
1 to pass.
1 to pass. You're gonna make 1 to pass.
1 to pass.
Really?
1 to pass.
Alright, first check.
God damn it!
Yeah, and I was deciding whether I was going to Phantom Blast the Diablo and retire with something, or just go inderdaad to Drag Strider. But I thought Drag Strider in this case might be just better off.
I think in the end, for the situation that I was in, it didn't matter what you did. I think Thunder Blaster is even better because it's an act ability, so I cannot disrupt it.
True. Well, yeah, you can disrupt it if I did attack with the rear guards and you decided to G guard.
But you pay his cost.
When you attack, you retire free.
Oh, that's on the attack phase.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. No, then it's a whole other story.
Yeah,
I thought his whole skill was an act ability.
Only to pay the cost to get the 10k the crit and the effects.
The additional skill. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's why I thought, well, I think I should try it with Drag Strider, and it did work because I won. So yeah, that's at least Luard from my side. I don't know if you have anything about your Narukami. Like you said, it's been the same build you are using for a long, not a long time, but
yeah, since the update of GBT 11, the 12, where sparking was announced and introduced, that fixed a lot. It's an amazing card, but
very strong.
The only issue that Narukami has nowadays to the other clans is just its draw. It doesn't have any draw effect. Only Shatura, but
Shatura,
it's on hit and
stand trigger also, I think.
And the stand trigger refunds itself. You shuffle the stand trigger back a deck and then you draw again.
Yeah, okay.
So it's and you need to it needs to be on the field and then you need to retire something. So it's not that you get on the play in your main phase get a new card to refund.
It doesn't work with the stride skill of this guy.
It works with no because it needs to retire and V-Buster binds a rear guard, so that's different.
Okay.
V-Buster has, I don't know why they did it, because against Gear Chronicle, this card can break something, because if my opponent has, I say, Urvatar on the field, and I use this skill, my opponent can choose which unit he gonna bind. So he binds Urvatar, and he can use Urvatar's skill to shuffle it back in deck and draw a card. Because Urvatar states that it needs to be bind from the rear guard, and this card won't retire it first and then bind it. It just binds immediately, and that way it doesn't synergize well with the stand trigger. That's that I do run, but only because it's a stand trigger.
Okay.
And it gives countercharge, but countercharge isn't the problem for this deck anymore, thanks to this card.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, and I was a little bit more lucky on the draws. The drive checks, I mean.
Yes, my drive checks were pretty empty at the beginning.
They were
only my damage checks were okay, but besides that, there was... First check. Second check. Wow, welcome, Shatura. First check. Second check. Third check. Draw trigger. First check. Second check. Hey, Shatura. Third check.
And final check.
Fourth check.
Ooh, blank.
So blank.
So blank.
So blank. 4 blanks, I believe. I only at grade 2 did I got a stand trigger, I believe, in my drive check.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for those who wondering why I said I don't have Drachma, although I have the Giza pack, another friend of ours, I borrowed the Giza pack so he can try out Gizeh no-shell build, so I don't have it in my possession now. So that's why I don't have Drachma in my G-Zone.
Oh, okay.
Because I was tempted to go there if I could go there, because you discarded so many Luards.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that you didn't have Luard on hand anymore.
Well, they just kept going.
The only thing that we can discuss is the builds itself. For those who are wondering how we built the deck, because To do a deck profile on every deck that we fight is a little bit extreme for me to editing everything, so we couldn't go very, very quick at maybe the unusual choices, because we built our deck mostly about the same way most guys build their Luard and Vanquisher.
I think so too. I mean, this one is a common card. This one is a common card in the build. This also. Well, Ezra's is always
Ezra's is a mandatory one.
Luard and Luard. Lyle is... Curse Raven is an option nowadays because it's...
For the loop play, right?
Yeah, but since with this one the loop is a little bit harder to do because you can only get power if you call a grade 1. So it's very specific. Well, I think Grosne is the name.
Grosne is the grade 2.
Yeah. He gets power for grade 1s and 0, so that's why...
The only issue is that you cannot put it behind Dragstrider to boost for a gigantic column that you cannot guard.
Exactly. This one's also... I think this one is an unusual choice nowadays because it doesn't have ritual. And because it's only the grade 0s that gives him power, or her.
He was the one for the loop combo is the target, but because... Everything now demands ritual stride, ritual Vanguard, ritual rearguard.
Exactly. So this one is an odd one, but yeah, I thought I'm gonna try it at 1. I only have 1 in my deck, so
you can fetch it whenever you want. The only problem is if it's sent to the drop zone, to the damage zone, then it's gone. Yeah. If it's in your hand, no problem. Discard it and then put it back with your stride.
Exactly. But it doesn't bode well with discard. But yeah. I still like it. I wanted to try it at least at 1. And as for the G zone, I think it's... Yeah, I don't have an Ultima, so that's the reason I have 2 Orgeisers.
If you went in the Ultima, I could have disrupt that play really hard. Because if you attack with your rearguard, attack with your other rearguard, you were Thunderstrike 9. So then I would G-guard on that rearguard. Because you're Thunderstrike 9, I can retire both front row rearguards.
Ah, true. Yeah, true.
So then Ultima attacks on his own, and slam triggers. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so probably would have been 2 crits at the top. But yeah, and I like the fact that I have 2 Orgeiser and 1 Doomed, so I can choose what I want. Just want to go to Orgeiser or
because most people only run only an Orgeiser Doomed and 1 Orgeiser to flip Doomed always as first.
Exactly. But
at some matchup, Doom doesn't mean anything, and the extra power on first right can make some difference in those matchups.
Exactly, and I have 1 Spectral. I don't think that a lot of people use that one anymore.
I see some people run 1 copy, dus one set of because you need to flip 1 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you need to flip himself?
No, you have to flip something.
Yeah, then
so that's why I like this. So I can choose. Say I use this one as first right, I can flip this with Spectral. And I still have enough good cards in my deck to use G-Zone to play.
Yeah, Dragabyss, Dragstrider, Phantom Blaster,
and
so all finishers.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a quick look at my deck profile. I don't know if you have your...
for my build, it's your mostly typical Vanquisher build. There are some odd choices in my G-Zone that I have heard from multiple Narukami players that have been adopting the idea that I presented them. I run, of course, the full 4 copies of Sparking. I run for support 2 of the old one, just because I want to have the name consistency, and of course you want to write this one, but running the old one isn't always that terrible. At least you have a Vanquisher name.
Exactly.
2 copies of Sigma, because this card is really painful in a late game voltage turn, because that thing swings for 50, 60, doesn't hit, counterblast, restand, let's go again.
So you always have to let that one hit.
Yes.
If you can,
If you can, of course. I run 1 copy of this, just because I didn't have another copy of the grade 2, where is she? Of her. This is just a proxy for this card, because I didn't have the time to fetch another one. So ignore this one.
Okay.
Because it doesn't fit in the deck anymore. So of course Grisel, this one is really good to snipe back row rearguards, because I can attack them. And when she's targeted or attacked, I can bind another additional card. So that's always fun. And especially against a retirement clan, because they're going to target it. Well, I get at least another Thunderstrike count up.
Yes.
Of course, Shaturas, because everybody loves their Shaturas.
Terrible card. Awful to play against, but amazing if you have it.
I also run Martial Arts Dragon. This card allows me to stall on grade 2, because when I ride into Griselle or Shatura, and my opponent stays at grade 2, or I have the one that went first on grade 2, and I have this in card in the hand, I can ride it again, and if they committed on the field, I can snipe a rearguard and get early game Thunderstrike going. So this is really good against early aggressions and to stall for who's going to strike first. Didn't do it in this matchup because he attacked my rearguard, so I didn't have to counterblast.
Exactly.
I should have. I think if I didn't guard it, he would attack my strike mother at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. Do I have another? I believe that those are the only grade 2s that I run. Because I run 4. Yes, I run 4, 4, 4, or 4, 4, or 3, 3, 4, 4. It doesn't really matter how much you run each of them. It depends on what your preferable grade 2 is in the deck. Yeah. My focus is more on these two, because this is for late game and this is for early game. And I want to get this one in my opening hand with another grade 2, of course.
Do you play the starter one time? Or?
I only played one time, because I know people that run them more than once. Yeah. But after I have stride and I've hit Thunderstrike 4, his extra Thunderstrike
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore for me. And against something like Luard, it discards so fast that you're not gonna keep up with the pace. The same for Grand Blue. You're not keeping up with the pace. And if I keep resting my rear guards, then I'm not giving the pressure that I need.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
For grade 1s, of course, the 4 times the PG, because that card can help a lot. Yeah. The extra draw is I have a situation that I couldn't guard perfect guard, and draw another perfect guard, and I could perfect guard, and I survived the turn. So this one really helps for that. Sadly, no recycle, but it has its own good benefits.
Exactly.
I also run the old grade 1 that we used to run with the old Shatura, Vanquisher. That's why I also run the old Vanquisher, just in case for a situation that I know I'm against a multi-attack clan. Yeah. I need to pump up my Vanguard in their turn. That's why I also run this one. And if I have another one on the field too, then it synergizes really well with the stride skill, and I can instead bind one card in my stride phase. I can bind 2, 3, maybe 4, depending on how many I have in the background. Then Thunderstrikes keep rolling out of control really fast. Also run this one. This is just to use in combination with Griselle to get a really strong column, give them both resist, and at the end of the turn, put them into the soul just for against Link Joker that it cannot lock that rearguard circle that was on.
Okay.
Stride Flutters, of course, that I run just to fetch the good Shatura, the good Vanquisher, in case that you don't have it, like this. What happened in this matchup? Yeah. That's really about the rares that I actually use. I don't have a lot of diversity because I want to focus on consistency with it. So that's why I only run these 4 grade 1s and these 3 grade 2s. Okay. And for triggers, I run Rainbow, so 4 heals, 4 crits, 4 draws, because I need to have some form of draw in this deck to replenish my hand, and 4 stands. These stands are usually for, not for him, but for Machaturas, or when I go into a late game voltage, that those stands at the voltage turn are really, really strong and really painful for your opponent. Exactly. And crits just to get another recycle, because it draws me another card. And that's for my main deck. Well, G-Zone is really standard. I run 4 copies of Voltage, because that card is really strong late game. Yeah. I also run 4 copies of V-Buster, because he's my go-to stride when I want to replenish my hand, because 4 drive checks, and also the crit and the extra drive really gives pressure on my opponent that force them usually to discard their perfect guards continuously. Exactly. And I also run not 1, but 2 copies of this guy. Usually, not a lot of Narukami players play this stride. And every time when I'm tell them about how this card works, they always have an epiphany from, maybe I should play this card. Because, one, it has a Thunderstrike ability. So you can have always a Thunderstrike stride. So you have always your full effect of your Thunderstrike from sparking. And also his skill that he gets 10k for Thunderstrike 3, so that your usually first strike is always 36. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And also at the end of the battle, you can counterblast 1, and for every 2 cards in his bind zone, he needs to retire 1 rearguard and binds it. This is really helpful against early game aggressions. You stride in this thing, you retire 1 and bind 1 from your stride skill. Usually you're at Thunderstrike 4, so they need to bind another 2, so that they lost just 3 rearguards. Late game, against something like Royal Paladin or Gold Paladin or anything that can Superior Call a lot, you can stride it again, that's why I run 2, to, at that point, you will have Thunderstrike 10, no problem. Exactly. And then you retire its entire field for only 1 counterblast, and you get another additional Thunderstrike 5. So if you then go into something like a Voltage, then it's really fun. So that's why I run this guy, to have as first stride, and also have a field wipe potential. And of course I run 1 VMAX just for those certain situations. I really hate this card though. 9 out of 10 times I lose the game thanks to that card. But for that one chance,
people fear the card.
People fear the card. People play around the card. But and just in case, that's why I run 1. And of course, Generation Brigade.
Yeah.
Why won't you? Like that I played.
All right. Well, yeah, I think this is a nice conclusion.
I think this matchup is pretty self-explanatory of what Luard and Vanquisher can do.
Yeah.
Early game, I can put pressure on because all my skills don't have Generation Break. That's also a real plus for this clan, because all the big skills don't have Generation Break skills. I can retire, use his skill. My Gazelle Grade 2 will gain the 9k because it's a Thunderstrike 5. That's it. The on attack bind also not Generation Break. This card's not Generation Break, and Shatura is not Generation Break. So that helps a lot. Yeah. But late game, when you start retiring my field, keep drawing a lot of cards, then the ball will spin over to your side of the field, and then I'm on the back foot, and then need to get a good hit to finish the game.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's the end of this Aftermatch.
Yeah.
I hope you liked it, guys.
And see you next time.
Bye bye.